So what does it really cost to build an empire? And I'm not talking about money or soldiers, I mean the human cost, the blood, the tears, and this crushing sense of duty. That's the question right at the heart of Virgil's Aeneid, which is, for all intents and purposes, the foundational story of ancient Rome. This is a story about a hero, but not a hero by choice. No, this is about a man forced by destiny to carry the weight of an entire civilization on his shoulders.
Right from the very first lines, Virgil lays it all out for us. Our guy, Aeneas, is a survivor of the Trojan War, but his real enemies, they aren't the Greeks he just escaped. They're cosmic forces. You've got this unshakable fate pushing him forward, and then you have the personal, bitter hatred of the queen of the gods herself, Juno. So his journey isn't some glorious quest. It's a forced exile, plain and simple.
You see, before Aeneas can ever be the founder of an empire, he has to be something else first, a refugee. His story doesn't start on a throne. It starts in the smoking ruins of his city, with a desperate escape across the sea.
And how does this whole epic kick off? With absolute disaster. Juno, who's been holding this ancient grudge against Troy, literally bribes the god of the winds to just unleash a hurricane on Aeneas' ships. This isn't just a patch of bad weather. It is a targeted divine assault. The entire conflict, everything that's about to happen, is driven by this one goddess just refusing to accept what's supposed to be.
And the storm is just devastating. Virgil paints this horrifying picture of ships being torn to pieces, men drowning, priceless treasures sinking to the bottom of the sea. Aeneas himself washes up on the coast of Africa, not as some conquering hero, but as the leader of a broken, traumatized group of survivors. He's lost everything.
But here's the thing. While Aeneas is down there suffering, a very different conversation is happening up in the heavens. His mom, the goddess Venus, is freaking out, complaining to Jupiter, the king of the gods, and he just calmly lays out the whole master plan. He reveals that all this pain, all this suffering, it all serves a much grander purpose. From these few survivors, a great city will rise. Then the twins Romulus and Remus. And finally, Rome itself, an empire that will have no end.
So Aeneas' journey now brings him to the story's emotional core. He's shipwrecked on the coast of North Africa, and he's brought to the incredible, rising city of Carthage and its powerful ruler, Queen Dido. Now, Dido is a survivor, just like Aeneas. She had to flee her own home after her husband was murdered, and now she's in the process of building this amazing new city. So you've got two powerful leaders, both with these incredibly tragic pasts. Their paths are about to collide, and you better believe the gods are the ones pulling the strings.
And this is where their two fates just crash into each other. Venus, still worried about her son, sends Cupid down to make Dido fall completely head over heels with Aeneas. The problem? His destiny is in Italy, so you get this totally impossible situation. Aeneas is bound by his duty to the future of his people, while Dido is trapped by a love that has absolutely no future. It's a tragedy where there really isn't a villain.
So when the gods finally command Aeneas to leave, Dido is just destroyed. And as she dies, she lets out this terrible curse. She prays that one day an avenger will rise from her people and that there will be eternal hatred between her city and his. Now, for the Romans reading this was a huge moment. It was the mythological origin story for the Punic Wars, the life-or-death struggle between Rome and Carthage that happened centuries later.
All right, so having paid this awful personal price, Aeneas finally reaches Italy. But to really, truly understand his mission, he has to go one step further. He has to go down into the underworld, into the land of the dead. And this is the turning point for the entire epic.
You know how it goes with epic heroes, right? At some point, they've got to take a trip to the underworld. Guided by a prophetess, Aeneas learns that he first has to find this mystical item, the golden bough. It's basically the only passport that allows a living person to get into the land of the dead and, more importantly, to get back out again.
Down there, in a place called the Fields of Mourning, Aeneas comes face to face with the ghosts of his past. And of course, he sees the shade of Dido. He's weeping, he's trying to explain that he never wanted to leave her, and her response? Nothing. Total silence. She just turns her back on him and walks away. A haunting, silent reminder of the real human cost of his divine mission.
The real reason for this whole trip is revealed when Aeneas finds his father, Anchises. His father shows him this incredible vision, a parade of souls, all waiting to be born, who will become the future heroes of Rome. He sees Romulus, the founder. He sees Brutus, who creates the Republic. He sees Caesar, and then he sees Virgil's own boss, the Emperor Augustus. This vision changes everything for Aeneas. He's not just a wanderer anymore. He is the father of the entire Roman people. Okay, to really get Aeneas, you have to understand this one core Roman idea, pietas. It's not just about being pious or religious. It's a selfless, all-in sense of duty. Duty to your family, to the gods, and to your country. This is why he left Dido. It wasn't because he was cruel. It was pietas. His duty to the future Roman people had to come before his own personal happiness.
So armed with this profound knowledge of his destiny, Aeneas comes back from the underworld a changed man. But his promised land isn't just going to be handed to him. No, it has to be taken by force in a brutal, bloody war for the future of Italy.
And you didn't think Juno was done, did you? Of course not. She has one last card to play. Refusing to admit defeat, she literally summons one of the Furies, a demon from hell named Alecto, and sends her to the world of the living. Alecto goes around breathing rage and madness into the hearts of the local queen and their greatest warrior Turnus, turning what could have been an alliance into a terrible, tragic war.
So the whole second half of the Aeneid is this brutal, violent war. And it all builds up to one final, climactic showdown, a one-on-one duel between the two champions, Aeneas and Turnus.
Aeneas is just the better fighter. He wounds Turnus, who falls to his knees, totally defeated, and Turnus does the honorable thing. He surrenders. He gives up the kingdom, he gives up the bride. He says, "You've won. The war is over." By all the rules of honor, Aeneas should show mercy here.
And for a split second, it looks like he will. Aeneas, the great hero defined by his sense of duty, pietas, actually hesitates. He's moved by Turnus's plea. He's thinking about it. But then, his eyes catch on something that Turnus is wearing.
It's the sword belt of Pallas. Pallas was this young prince, basically Aeneas' surrogate son, who Turnus had killed in battle and then looted this belt from his body, and the sight of it just drives Aeneas into a blind fury. His duty to his fallen friend, another kind of pietas, completely overwhelms any thought of mercy. Burning with rage, he plunges his sword straight into Turnus' chest.
And right there, with that final, brutal act of revenge, the great Roman epic just ends. There's no wedding, there's no celebration, just vengeance. Turnus' soul, as Virgil writes, flees groaning down to the shades. And it just leaves us with this massive question. What is Virgil trying to tell us about the cost of founding Rome? Maybe he's saying that even the noblest mission, the grandest empire, is ultimately built on a foundation of violence, rage, and a kind of duty that looks an awful lot like revenge.